Right. Hello. Good evening, everybody. This is Guru Tom Pena for FMA Discussion, episode 314. Mr. Chapman as our guest. It's coming on now. All right. Good evening,
Hey
Matthew.
Tom,
How
how
are you
you doing?
doing?
I'm
I'm
very
good.
good,
I'm
thank
good.
you.
I'm good. I'm good.
The weather's
Uh,
a bit cooler this today, wasn't it? It was a bit hot last time we spoke.
I know. I know. I know. At least we're getting much cooler days now. Still not much rain to water the garden.
No,
I
what
was
can you do?
expecting a thunderstorm last week, but it didn't happen.
No, they're talking about it, but yeah, it's just not happening. Typical British weather. It's not predictable.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. Okay, so how have you been since the last time we spoke? Or how was the sleepover?
it was it was a typical sleepover with like young kids, so they wouldn't go to bed and they got too excited, and then unfortunately one of them managed to vomit all over his bed because he was too
Oh no.
excited. This was about 12 o'clock during the night, so we had to strip his bed, and then we had to take him home, obviously, because he wanted his mum because he was sick.
Oh,
It's a normal sleepover for young kids.
so it was eventful.
Yeah, very. So it's kind of lucky we didn't do our interview on that night because it would have been,
Yeah, definitely. Otherwise, yeah, would have been like an emergency.
it, it was bad. Yeah, yeah, it was pretty bad. Projectile vomit everywhere.
Yeah. All right. So, good evening, gents. If you're watching this live interview with Matthew Chapman, let us know, say hello, and let us know where you are watching from. And remember tonight, besides Matthew's journey to martial arts and also FMA, we are going to also like talk about the Myth Master, how what inspired him basically to develop or come up with a Myth Master and also all his other online tech support. Okay, right. And if you get any questions, you all you can do now is basically write it in the comment box and we'll try to address it. Okay. So we got Baste. Hi, hi Baste. He's from Georgia, USA. Right. Okay. So, um, I mean, for our guest tonight, those who didn't manage to watch the test run last week, um, would you be able basically to share us how you started in martial arts in general and also in FMA. Oh, Hyle is there. He's the next guest I have. He already said love
Cool.
his content, been watching it for years.
Oh, thank you, dude.
There you
Yes,
go.
thank you.
You've got a lot of fans in the States as well.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah, so martial arts wise, I saw Bruce Lee and Enter the Dragon when I was young. I think like a lot of people of my generation, and that was like just like mind blowing, amazing skill, and he's so charismatic on screen, isn't he? So it just kind of made me want
Mm.
to do martial arts at that point. I was fairly young. I can't remember how old I was, but I was pretty young. So I started to search for kung fu classes in my local town, which was Plymouth, which is in the southwest of the United Kingdom, and couldn't find any kung fu, unfortunately, but did find a ninjutsu school. So started ninjutsu, and that was a very fun 10 years of my life. I think I started when I was 11, so I did it for about a decade studying ninjutsu. My teacher was a guy called Dusty Miller, who's now emigrated to Canada, but he was really into kind of traditional ninjutsu training. So we did a lot of stuff that's not kind of average martial arts training. So we did things like learn how to use throwing stars, obviously, how to use a blowpipe, riding horseback and firing a bow and arrow off of horseback. Like this is crazy stuff to do when you're like 13 years old. We did a lot of escape and evasion stuff. So we used to sneak into buildings at night and sneak back out again without being detected.
Detected, yeah.
So,
I mean,
I mean,
even with CCTVs around.
well, this was such a long time ago, remember? This was
Oh yeah, that's yeah. Okay, so yeah,
25, 30 years
CCTV is
ago.
warranted.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
been training a long time. there wasn't much of that around, but
Mm.
I assume he did reconnaissance before that,
Yeah.
and,
Okay.
and checked it out. So we did underwater swimming. We just did just some
Wow.
amazing cool stuff that you just don't get to
Yeah. It's
trade.
it, it it's like a Boy Scout in what 1,000 level up.
Yeah. And obviously, being of that age, it was just the coolest thing ever. So I was loving my ninjutsu training until I had a unfortunate sparring incident with a visiting karate student who came to our school, and he wanted to do some sparring with us. So I said, sure, let's do some sparring. And then he just proceeded to kick me upside the head and punch me in the chest and sweep me and just generally batter me. So I was a bit like, oh, all of the kind of unarmed self-defense stuff that I was trying to make work just didn't seem to work
Just
against this
didn't. Yeah.
guy.
Okay.
Maybe he was really, really good. Maybe I wasn't so good or whatever. But
Mm.
I started then trying to look at more sort of functional martial arts. Obviously, I think ninjutsu has like an amazing base of skills that are very diverse, like I mentioned, across
Mm-hmm.
a lot of different systems, styles, and arts, and lots of different things that you do. Maybe the area that I found weakest for me, maybe it's not weakest for ninjutsu, but weakest for me was the unarmed combat side of
Mm-hmm.
things. So I started looking at other martial arts that are maybe a bit more functional for that. And that led me into Filipino martial arts. So I went to a local kickboxing club and started kickboxing. That was good. I enjoyed kickboxing, quite fun. Obviously, when you're young, it is quite fun. And the kickboxing instructor said, I said to him, do you know anyone who teaches like Kung Fu or anything like that? And he said, there's this guy who lives about 20 miles away from where I was who taught Filipino martial arts and JKD and things like that. And I was like, wicked. So I went to his house, I knocked on his door, knock, knock, knock. And I said, can you teach me martial arts? That instructor was Anton St. James, who's still my instructor to this day in Filipino martial arts. And he kind of taught me Filipino martial arts, Muay Thai, some Kung Fu, Tai Chi for a decade when all I did was train with him every day, literally every day for 3, 4, 5 hours every day
Mm.
for a decade. And that was my introduction to Filipino martial arts.
Mm.
And it was a great introduction.
Anton is like an encyclopedia as well on his own right, especially with the art that he teaches.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
amazing. But also, Anton, studied karate when it first came to the UK. He studied Muay Thai with Master Toddy
Mm.
when it
Yeah.
first came to the UK. He studied Wing Chun with several instructors so he's been early in everything that's come over.
Mm.
And yeah, obviously Filipino martial arts came along with Guru Bob Breen and various other
Yeah.
instructors teaching, and Anton started to study Filipino martial arts and has obviously now gone to the Philippines, lived in the
Yeah.
Philippines, stayed in
Yeah.
the Philippines,
Exactly.
come back to the UK, and he's really just spent 50 years just mastering Filipino martial arts. So it was a great instructor to have. Luckily, I've
Mm.
always had good luck with my instructors. They've all been really open-minded, really willing to share all their secrets with me, not holding anything back.
Yeah.
And Anton's just a great example of that.
Ah, nice. So, I mean, so you've done when you were like learning martial arts from yeah, different styles. Were there like attributes or certain things that you managed to bring across as you learn a new style?
Yeah, I think one of the strengths of ninjutsu as a style is it makes you very flexible in your thinking and your ability to move your body in different ways. So it's not rigid in the way it moves. You move your body, and it's not set. You don't have to move your body in any particular way. You move
Mm-hmm.
your body in response to what's happening. And
Ah,
uh,
okay.
so what that meant was when I moved from doing a decade in jiu-jitsu into striking systems like kickboxing, Thai boxing,
Mm.
Filipino martial arts, it I found it quite easy to pick up the techniques
All right.
because I wasn't particularly rigid and structured and didn't have lots of bad habits to unlearn. I found it quite easy to assimilate those arts in. So I think that's one of the strengths of ninjutsu, and I think that's part of what ninjutsu is about. Is obviously if back in ancient Japan, they would want to be flexible in their approach so that they
Mm.
could defeat their enemies. They didn't want to
Yeah.
be too
Yeah. Yeah.
rigid. So
Yeah.
I, I think ninjutsu was fantastic for that. It really helped me become a skilled martial artist because of its ability just to take different elements and learn different things and not be set and limited, which is also why I was attracted to sort of Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do, because it's a similar sort of approach to
Mm-hmm.
martial arts, like to be formless and to find your own way, which I enjoyed. So common themes amongst the martial arts, I think footwork is
Mm-hmm.
the big thing, isn't it? Like all martial arts stress footwork, body alignment, positioning, breathing,
Yeah.
and they all have maybe slightly different approaches to doing that, but those are common themes that across all the martial arts I've studied seem to be the most important, and then you can just bolt different things on top of that structure.
Mm. Okay.
Mm.
So, um, when you were like learning a different art, did you have a hard time trying to assimilate what you've learned before to to the new one, or did you have to go through like the stage wherein, yeah, I'm although I'm emptying my cup, basically I'm going to forget everything first.
I didn't have a hard time, but I think that's because I've started training young-ish, sort of 10,
Mm-hmm.
11 years old, and I've studied a lot of martial arts from when I was 10 to when I was 30. So, and I think during that phase, you're young, your brain is quite young, and it's quite
Yeah.
plastic and it's flexible, and you can just adapt. And I never really had a style that I particularly wanted to make my own and like kind of own. So I was quite flexible in my approach. I just wanted to get more skilled. And I just enjoyed training, really. Training and learning and teaching was the passion. So I wasn't too fixated on like being one way. I didn't have to
Yeah.
be a certain way. I could just express myself. And obviously, at a certain age, I remember getting Bruce Lee's Tao of Jeet Kune Do. I found it in Waterstones one day, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Aha, the Bible!" So
Yeah.
I read that. It's on the shelf somewhere behind me. I read that like 100 times, and the whole idea of expressing yourself and being who you are and being formless and fluid and all of that
Mm-hmm.
really appealed to me.
Yeah.
So that's how I kind of done my martial arts. I don't have like a particular style of martial arts. I just express what I want to express at that time, and I kind of like it. I prefer it that way.
All right. Did you go more than just practicing martial art? Because you, at one point, you competed, right?
Yeah, so I did all these different martial arts for I think about 10, 15 years. And then there's always that nagging thing in the back of the mind of my mind. And I think of a lot of martial artists is, can I actually make this stuff work for real when someone's trying to punch you in the face? Now, there's kind of two routes you can go with this question. You could
Mm-hmm.
go and find street fights, but
Mm,
that's dangerous, and you know you can't
exactly.
die, and you can go to prison. Or you can go into competitive martial arts
Yeah,
and
combat sports. Yeah.
combat sports, which is not the same, but obviously it's not the same, but it's a test of your skill set, your
Mm-hmm.
confidence, your ability and stuff. So wasn't going to go down a street fighting route. And I was training a lot of Thai boxing in the early days. And to me, Thai boxing is one of the toughest combat sports out there, if not the toughest, because it's kind of standing in front of each other and just kicking seven bells out of each other until one of you falls over. And
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, I'm not sure I want to do this because it is brutal. Like some of my mates were fighting and their legs were black for weeks after a fight, and cracked ribs, busted noses, teeth lost, big scars from elbows. I was like, and then luckily MMA made an appearance. UFC one happened, and MMA started to happen, and over a period of sort of 5, 10 years, it started to drift over to the UK. And I thought actually I'd like to test myself in that style because it's kind of what I've done. It's a mixture of
Mm-hmm.
standing, striking, clinching, takedowns, ground control, submissions, ground and pound, and that really appealed to me. So my Thai boxing coach was always like, "You got to fight, you got to fight," and I was like, "Nah, I don't want it. It's crazy. Muay Thai is really hard. I don't want that." So then I decided I was going to do MMA instead, uh, which is
Okay.
also hard, but in a different way. Because you have more options in MMA. Like
Mm-hmm.
in Thai boxing, if you're getting battered on the feet, you can't shoot in, take someone down, and hold them down, and you get disqualified. In
Yeah.
MMA, perfectly reasonable. So you have more ways of controlling the fight, more ways of winning. So I started journeying into MMA. Had a few fights, enjoyed the training for the fights, loved the 6 to 8 week build up and getting in shape and working a game plan and drilling and conditioning and sparring. Didn't like the fight so much, not because I was fearful of fighting, because I wasn't particularly. I didn't seem to get very stressed out by fighting in a ring. Because the worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to get knocked out, you're going to wake up,
Mm.
and that's it. You're going to be embarrassed for a few weeks. That's literally the worst thing that's going to happen. So that didn't really, and there's a ref in there to stop anything terrible happening, and so that didn't. And I was well conditioned, in good shape. So I wasn't particularly worried about the fights. I was more, I just didn't enjoy. I didn't enjoy fighting. It didn't really give me a buzz. Like you see people who fight and they are ecstatic
Hmm.
to be fighting, and also even more ecstatic when they win the fight and they go crazy and they're like, "Rah." I was kind of like, I won my fight. I'd be like, okay, yeah, all right, I'll go and have a beer then, I guess, and I go and have a beer, and then I go home. So it wasn't giving me much fulfillment. And after about 7 or 8 fights, I decided, I've tested my skill set. I've won my fights, won all my fights. Um, I won a belt back in the day, in the early days, as a British MMA champion, but I wasn't enjoying it. I much prefer teaching people. I get more of a buzz from teaching people and seeing them grow, develop, and improve, and
Hmm.
uh, become better martial artists than I do from fighting. So I just decided to focus more on teaching than I did on
Okay.
fighting. So I stopped doing the MMA at that point, picking up a few silly injuries as well, as you do when you do MMA. Your knees take a battering, your back takes a battering, your neck gets cranked a lot. And I could see longevity of my martial arts career like going down
Going
the longer
down.
I
Yeah.
did MMA. If I did MMA for a decade, like, you see fighters now. I know a lot of the old school fighters from back in the day of early MMA in the UK, and they're knackered. Like their knees, they haven't got any knees.
Mm.
Their backs are done
Mm.
in. They've got like problems with their neck. They can't turn their heads.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's not good. Goes for any competitive sport, and it would have been probably worse in Muay Thai. But I just thought I want to still be doing martial arts when I'm 90, and this is going to take that away from me,
Mm.
because the amount of damage I'm going to accumulate in those 10 years of competitive fighting is going to cut 20 years off the other side. And
Yeah.
it's more important for me to train and teach than it is to fight. So yeah, just decided, yeah, that's it. I'm done with that side of things. Did a few jiu-jitsu competitions, did some pseudo dog brother stick fighting. I
All
went
right.
to train with Mark Dene in the USA for a short period while I was training with Eric Polson over there, which I really enjoyed. And I like the idea of like limited armor stick fighting, because obviously it makes it a little bit more interesting, and you're a little bit more cautious about going in because you're going to get cracked in the head. So I did some of that with some of my crazy friends, which was fencing mask,
Yeah.
stick,
Yeah.
uh, the screamer gloves, groin guard, and that was it really. And we just swung sticks at each other. I enjoyed that, and we did that for a period as well. But then
Ah.
I stopped kind of competing entirely at that point.
Okay. So when you did Dog Brothers,
I didn't do Dog
uh,
Brothers with the Dog Brothers, I might add. I just
oh,
did their format of sparring.
other format of sparring. So, which weapons did you basically go for?
Single stick, double stick, nunchuck, things like that.
Nunchucks. All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
just trying different things out. I mean, have you seen the Dog Brothers fight?
Yeah,
The
I've seen videos. Yeah.
the
Yeah. Yeah.
stick they use is big. It's not like
Big.
a little thin rattan stick.
Mm.
It's a proper
Mm.
size stick. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay, you guys are crazy. But I wouldn't have gone and done the full Dog Brothers. But we did sparring like that, full contact with a stick and a fencing mask.
All right.
And that was great fun. It really makes you feel alive because you're totally focused on that other person and what's happening and your angles and your footwork and your
Mm.
head movement,
Mm.
and because it's a real stick and it's swinging fast, you, you're less likely to just try something
Something
too
crazy.
flash,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. You have to be
Because
cautious.
yeah, you have to be cautious. I kind of like that. It's kind of like a game of chess,
Mm.
but with a big stick. So you had to work out your timing and try and hit the hand on the way in and then crash.
Mm.
And also like that the Dog Brothers integrated grappling and wrestling into stick fighting, which was missing before they did. So obviously, if you watch any Dog Brothers fighting, it's long range, and there's
Yeah.
a lot of movement and faking and faking, and then there's an attack of some type, and usually one person will kind of crash in behind a roof block
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
a clinch. And now then they add in the wrestling, so they do double legs with the stick, they do takedowns, body locks, dumps, and then they continue on the ground with ground and pound using the punyo of the stick to strike,
Hmm.
and submissions with the stick. I like that. I thought that was really great to see, just like the full transition from
Okay.
standing all the way to groundwork with a stick, and they are masters of that stuff. So I like that, but it's not really something you just do. I think you really have to be into it to kind of really do it
Mm.
properly.
It's almost like you did the empty hand version MMA, and you did the weapons
Hmm.
version of MMA.
Yeah. I think I'm a big believer in things being functional.
Yeah.
I think that came from the experience of that karateka I was sparring.
Mm.
I was doing stuff, but I couldn't make it work. Now
Hmm.
it might have been that, like I said, this person was really, really good, and I didn't
Yeah.
know it,
Yeah.
or maybe not, or my skill set wasn't up. But I just want stuff that works against the majority of people, most of the time.
Mm.
So that also led me then to start training with Bob Breen in London around about the same time, because Anton said to me, you should go and train with Bob. He's amazing at JKD. And I was like, cool. So me and my friend James moved to London to do a sports science degree. But the real reason we were in London was to train with Guru
The train
Bob
Bob
Breen
Green. Yeah.
at his academy. And that was fantastic. So many high level martial artists came through there. Got to meet some amazing Filipino martial artists as well. Obviously, Guru Dan, Mike Ine, and various other instructors came and taught. That was like a really great 3, 4, 5 years of my life, just going to Guru Bob's training, doing my degree, and
Hmm.
just learning and absorbing. That's why I met Eric Paulson, and then that's how the MMA started.
Ah, I've got comparing. Okay. When you were doing MMA, were you more of a striker or were you more of a grappler?
I was more of what worked against my opponent. So
Okay.
like now this, I was competing years ago. I haven't had a fight in, I think, 17 years. So that was my last fight, long time ago. At that point, there were no cages in the UK for MMA. There
Hmm.
were just boxing rings.
Yeah, boxing
And
rings.
also at that point, the internet wasn't really as big as it is now. So you couldn't really find out much about your opponent. The internet was around, but people didn't have
Mm.
Facebook profiles. They didn't have, Instagram profiles. So you couldn't stalk your opponent. So I would try and find out stuff about my opponent and then work out, like, based off which school they were coming from.
Ah, okay.
If they're coming from like a Muay Thai school, I'd assume they were a striker, and then I would take them down and tap them. If they were like coming from a BJJ school, I had several BJJ opponents during my fights. I would keep it standing, and if I couldn't keep it standing, I would get into ground control on top, and then just ground and pound, and try not to get submitted. So I
It's
try and
it's a
find out.
sensible approach actually. Yeah,
Yeah,
you really think about it.
well, yeah, some people don't. They just love to have a fight.
Mm-hmm.
There's people out there who just like a fight, right? And they will just go in with no prep and just fight and see if they won or lost. I was more like, I wanted to win, but I
Okay.
also I wanted, to know what my opponent was going to bring to the party. I don't think. I mean, perhaps that's why I was not so nervous about fighting, because I did a bit of research and found out that they'd had a couple of fights. They were jiu-jitsu purple belt, for example, and I was like, okay, cool, right. So I need to keep this standing strike, and keep it long, and then if I do get taken down, stay on top and not make any
Mm-hmm.
mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
So that strategy
Yeah.
worked well. I had an opponent who I was a bit in. The only opponent I was really intimidated by was a guy called Amir Subasek, who was a super tough dude, was in the military, and was a really good striker. And I was like, oh shit, this could go really badly wrong. He could really light me up. So here's the only opponent that I was actually like properly worried about. And we drilled a lot of shooting in, a lot of it, takedown, takedown,
Ah,
takedown,
okay.
takedown.
Okay.
And luckily I got the takedown and got the win. But yeah, he's a scary dude.
Okay. Yeah. The reason why I ask if basically you were more of a striker or a grappler, Uh, it's because my second question is, when you did that platform, that low armor platform of Dog Brothers, did the way you fight change, or again you were just basically going for like depending on your opponent?
Yeah, it's depending on your opponent. I think that's the Tao Jeet Kune Do thing again, isn't it? Your opponent forms your reactions
Yeah,
and your
your
responses
reaction. Yeah.
to them.
Okay.
So um, because I trained in lots of different martial arts that covered a lot of different um, ranges. So obviously, I trained Muay Thai for long range kicking, kickboxing, and boxing for punching, and obviously Muay Thai for clinch, and
Mm-hmm.
wrestling for clinch, and Jiu Jitsu for ground, and combat submission wrestling for ground. I felt comfortable everywhere. So
All right. Okay.
it wasn't like I was like, I've got to get this to the ground. If I was
Mm-hmm.
standing, I was quite happy, and if I was on the ground, I was quite happy. When it came to the stick fighting, um, one of the things that I kind of picked up from the Dog Brothers and watching their courses and their online stuff is that that kind of mid-range, what we would call maybe some broader range, that kind of
Yeah.
mid-range where the hand's going in, kind of disappears like that when people are swinging sticks full
Yeah.
force
It's
and
almost
really
like
trying to.
long range and then suddenly into close range.
Yeah. So, although I'd like to be at some broader range and throwing my rear hand in and stuff and snaking and checking and
Yeah.
doing all that cool stuff,
Yeah, but I think they
really,
prefer
it's
like
kind
doing
of like,
like payong and then into crushing takedowns.
yeah, well, I don't think they prefer. I think it's the
Uh,
reality of like being in an adrenalized state
mm,
and you're like, sticks are flying past you and you're like, oh, and then you think, I've got to do something. I've got to do, so you go, oh, I'm going to go in, but you don't stop. You just,
yeah,
it's that human
you
instinct
mow
of,
them down.
oh shit, it's really happening. I need to get in and control what's
Yeah,
happening. So
yeah.
it's that desire to clinch, which you see in street fights, right?
Mm,
If you watch enough
yeah.
YouTube street
Yeah, yeah,
fights, people will start at long range swinging
yeah.
bad punches.
Yeah.
One of them will get clocked,
Yeah.
and their instinct is to crash,
Crushing.
cover, and
Yeah.
clinch, and just hold on to the person and
Mm,
stop them. But that's obviously magnified when someone's got a full on rattan stick and is swinging that at you. So
yeah, it's yeah, that's true.
that was in that case I was like, if I could control the outside game and hand hit and hit the knee, lead knee and pot shot, I'd try and do that. But if I couldn't, I would crash, clinch, and then obviously my MMA experience helped me dump people to the ground. And
Mm-hmm.
then
Mm-hmm.
the weird thing about the stick grappling is you forget you have a stick. So
Uh-huh.
you'll be kind of grappling with the stick, you'll let go of the stick because it's getting in the way, and then
Yeah,
you'll
it's
try and
getting
do something to the person, and then they'll pick up your stick and bonk you on your head with your own weapon,
okay.
or submit you with your own stick. So that was really interesting because I was like, oh yeah, like
Mm,
if you're going
mm,
to do that, you need to, which you really shouldn't do, really, but you need to put the stick out of reach so they can't get it, and you need to
yeah.
be aware of their own stick and try and. It's stick grappling is complex.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of positions in stick grappling that don't apply, or what you could do in MMA to stop the person hitting you doesn't apply when someone's got a stick in their hand because of the extra range. So
Yeah,
usually
because
in
you.
MMA, you put your hands on people's biceps if you're on top of them to
Mm-hmm.
stop them punching you because they can't punch you. But if they have a stick, they can just still abaniku you. They can
Yes,
do the back,
Talabanico. Yeah, exactly.
and still hit you in the head, even though you're holding their arms. So that was like, oh, okay. So there's like lots of learning to be had from that type of fighting. I think it's important if you're going to be doing um, teaching that type of thing, that you need to have kind of experienced that
Mm,
kind of chaos of like real people swinging with its consequences because you've got low armor on, so you can
yeah. Mm.
get
You're gonna
get
pay the
injured.
price if you
Yeah. So
if you did it.
no, I didn't really change my style. I just tried to find my opponent's weakness as quickly as possible through kind of
Mm,
probing at long range and seeing what they did, and then working out a strategy mid fight and then executing the strategy. But I did take some big shots to the head, big shots to the knee with the stick, and that wasn't particularly fun. But once again, I think when you're young, you just kind of soak that up. Like
mm,
you'll have
yeah, suck it
bruises
up.
and
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, but literally a week later, you're back training. It has no difference. I would never do a Dog Brothers type fight now at close to 50 because it would take me 6 months to recover.
Exactly, exactly. If you don't have any lasting injury. That's the
exactly. You got to
thing.
look after your body, haven't you?
Yeah, but it's really it's fascinating because you have done MMA, as in I would say the empty hand version, and then sort of like the MMA, the weapon version. And it's nice to see, basically, it's nice to hear that there are certain things that you have to adjust to, especially coming from somebody like you who have done it. Okay, so it's not just like theoretical. It's not just, but it's something that you went through as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you have to test your stuff. Now, the issue is if you're doing knife, for example, you can't
Hmm.
really test knife, can you? Because people die. So how like, and there's lots of different ways that people have tried to get around that with things like
Hmm.
shock knives
Yeah.
and all different things. But I think if you're doing definitely empty hands, you should be testing it via sparring and possibly competition of some sort where you don't know the other person,
Yeah.
you don't know what they're capable of, and you're still gonna controlled, obviously, not just like a street fight, but some sort of controlled test, so that you can just see where your skill set is and your
Hmm.
level and your
And your
confidence
mindset as well.
and your mindset when you
Yeah.
get clocked. And
Mm.
the same goes for weapons. So
Mm.
you know, if someone is swinging a nunchuck at your head full power, like how are you going to deal with that?
Yeah.
But I'd rather get it done when you're young. Like this is
Yeah.
something that
Exactly.
get all the craziness done when you're 20 to 30. Don't do it now. I remember sparring. This is very stupid. This is just typical stupid stuff you do when you're a kid. I had me and my friend were sparring with live katanas. Live katanas.
Really?
Yeah, that's so
Wow. How did
stupid.
it
Yeah.
go?
It went badly because he deflected my katana and just chopped down and chopped my thumb, and I've still got the scar on my thumb where he chopped into the meat of
Yeah.
my thumb.
Yeah.
Loads of blood, loads of white stuff came out. End
Oh.
of sparring. But that's kind of
So like in the
like,
animes, it was
yeah,
like,
dropped the blade. Obviously, almost lost my thumb. Luckily, my
of
katanas
course.
were not
Mm.
super sharp. But that's the kind of stupid stuff you do when you're 20 because you think
Um.
it's a good idea. Uh, so yeah, I think yeah, you have to spar, and obviously
Mm.
there's different levels of sparring, right? There's
Yeah.
sparring. I think you have to spar the unknown. Like it's quite easy as an instructor to spar with your students, for example, and because you've taught
Mm.
them everything you know, you
Yeah.
essentially have the upper hand because you can always
Yeah.
go up a level and you can always you can anticipate
Yeah.
the attack because you taught
Yep.
them
Yep.
the attacks. So I think sparring the unknown is a good thing to do at some point in your journey, just so that you get that oh, I'm not sure what's going on here and I need to adapt, improvise,
Adapt. Yeah.
overcome.
That's true.
Um, but a lot of instructors don't like doing that because it's very uncomfortable to do that. Um, in some systems, it's very common. Like in jiu-jitsu, it's very common for the coach to roll with lots of the students and also to go to other gyms and roll and do competitions and roll and face the unknown. In some systems, it's not common. So
Mm. Mm.
I think it's quite important.
Okay. All right. So all these all these experiences that you have training in different systems contributed basically to, I think, one of your best selling product, which is Meat Master.
Hmm.
Okay. How did Meat Master came into light? What inspired you?
Um, don't know what inspired. Well, yeah, I do know what inspired me. I was always wanting to learn, and at this point, I've been training martial arts probably 15, 20 years. And I'd always go to YouTube and just type in random stuff and get ideas from instructors and get inspiration from instructors and see people do amazing things and learn from instructionals. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. You know, it's nice to learn from someone thousands of miles away.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily, we had the internet. So, you
Yeah.
know, you can do this, you know, 30 years ago. There's no way of learning from someone on the other side of the world other than getting on a
Ah.
plane and going to them and training with them.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's obviously better, but maybe it's not feasible if you want to learn from multiple instructors and learn different things. So I was always exploring and trying to find new ideas, new ways of teaching, and just learning from other instructors around the world. And then I thought, I wonder if anyone would be interested in what I do, because I had a passion for like pad training. It's one of my favorite things, like hitting pads and holding pads. I love doing it. So I started to create a few DVDs back in the day, such a long time ago, and tried to then sell these DVDs online with zero success.
Mm-hmm.
Like no one wanted my DVDs. It just didn't happen. It took me an entire year to sell my first DVD.
All right.
But yeah, which was not great. But I kind of persisted, and I created a little YouTube channel, and I started create a Facebook page, and I started sharing my information and pushing it out there. And after a few years, I started to get a few people around the world interested in learning. Buying DVDs. I'd be going to the post office and sending off big bundles of DVDs to America and Canada and Australia and all these places, which is kind of cool. I enjoyed that. But obviously, then as things started to change, it's quite a lot of hassle doing DVDs because one, you got to get them printed, you've got to get the
Mm.
content onto them, you've got to box them, you've got to pack them, you've got to take them to the post office and stand in the line with a massive bundle of DVDs and everyone hates you. And then you've
Yeah,
got,
especially the person behind you.
yeah, so I've got a big sack full of DVDs, and then you've got to send them, and then they get lost in the post. So the person complains,
Uh,
and then you have to refund them or send more DVDs, or you send them and the person gets them and they don't work on a DVD player in Brazil.
yeah. Oh, yeah. 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 Yeah.
So then you have to refund them and all of this. And it was just I was selling quite a few DVDs, but you'd send them one day and then the person would be back on you literally 24 hours later. Why are my DVDs not here? And I'm like, it takes time to go from the UK to the US. It's going to take like a week. And they're like,
Mm.
oh, I'm not happy. And so I was like, is there another way of me sharing this information? And about that time, online courses started to become a thing. So basically, I created a website, and I uploaded the DVDs onto the website as online courses. And that solved that entire problem because people could log in, buy a course, watch it immediately, no delay, no postage, no delay, no problem with
Mm-hmm.
DVDs,
Mm-hmm.
so none of that. And that gathered a lot of momentum, I think, because people are just like, they can get instant access. They kind of like that rather than waiting for DVDs. Weirdly, though, I still get requests from people who want DVDs now, and I'm like, how do you still have a DVD player, really? But some of the older martial artists still want a physical DVD that
Yeah.
they can watch, which is fair enough. But I don't do DVDs anymore. And once it all was online and an online platform, and it started to pick up a bit of steam. I started marketing it. I started sharing more content on YouTube and Facebook. I started to build like an audience who kind of liked my pad drills. And over the last, I think it's 10 years now, it's grown into quite a large business. That now I just do online courses full time.
Okay.
So for the first 20 years of my martial arts career, I was teaching classes and I had a school and all of that. And about 4 years ago, I just sold my school
Mm-hmm.
because I wanted to focus on the online, and now I've just gone on 100% into online courses, and it's worked out really, really well. Because the problem with a martial arts school is you're limited by your geography, so you can
Yeah.
only
That's
serve
true.
the people in your town. And now, let's say if you live in a really small town of 200 people, that's the max size of your martial arts school. But
Mm-hmm.
not everyone's going to want to train martial arts. Some people are going to be
Yeah, that's
babies,
true.
some people
Yep.
are going to be old people. So actually, you're probably in a town of 200, silly example, there's probably one or two people who are interested in learning martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
So you're limited by the geography of your area and also the competition in your area. So I was like, why not just teach everyone who wants to learn pad work around the world? Then
Yeah.
my you know my audience is potentially
Mm.
7 billion people, but probably more like a
All
million
right. Okay.
who are
Okay.
more into pad work. So it just seemed to make sense to me that I'd create a bigger audience, find these people all around the world. And I have students all around the world who buy online courses and do
Mm.
certifications and
Yeah.
all of that sort of stuff. And
Yeah.
it's been brilliant.
Yeah. So with Masters. Okay. So what are the courses that you offer with regards to pad work? I mean, does it
A lot.
is it only like FMA? Is it only Muay Thai? So what are the packages that you normally order? Are you normally basically present in your
So
pad work?
I generally create courses for martial arts instructors, which is a bit weird and a bit niche, but
Mm-hmm.
my passion is helping martial arts instructors. So a lot of my courses are not like for someone who's never done martial arts. Then they're
Okay.
not for like a total beginner to pick up a pair of pads and start hitting pads. They're more like syllabuses for instructors, lesson plans for instructors, sparring program for instructors that instructors can use to teach classes.
Mm-hmm.
I have kind of 5 areas that I do: boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, MMA, and Filipino martial arts. And I create like lesson plans and syllabuses in each of those areas. They're really, really popular because I think a good instructor is willing to look outside of their own
Yeah.
circle
Mm.
and take what is good from outside and
Mm-hmm.
modify it and change it and then
Yeah.
present it
Yeah.
to their students. So that's the type of content I like to create that helps other instructors teach, great classes, and that's my passion. So I've got about 60 courses, so I've got a lot of courses.
Wow.
Most of them are focused on helping instructors teach. So let's say you're a kickboxing instructor and you're kind of you're teaching, but the problem with teaching, and especially if you don't maybe have a senior instructor who's assisting you, or maybe an association. So let's say you're a kickboxing instructor on your own
Mm-hmm.
and you're teaching, you will go around in a circle of what you teach because you're limited by what you know and what you've been taught and your own
Yeah.
experience.
That's true.
So you'll kind of repeat the same stuff over and over. It might
Mm.
take you 6 months, 12 months to go through, but it'll be the same way. What I do is for example, if someone buys a course on kickboxing lesson plans, the way I present and teach kickboxing is slightly different than the way the person does themselves. So it sparks their creativity, it gets them thinking in a different way, and it makes that circle larger, that they have more options, more ideas, more ways of presenting the
Mm-hmm.
content, different variations. So that's what I like to do. I like to create that type of course that helps instructors develop and become um, more open. And I think nowadays a lot of instructors are like that. They are willing to learn
Mm.
from other people.
Yeah.
You
It's
often
it's
get
actually
people
good.
say,
It's
I mean,
actually
you
good.
often get people
Yeah.
say you can't learn online, which is a classic thing that people say to me. You can't learn martial arts online, and of course not. It's very, very difficult to learn martial arts online if it's that's your only experience. But what I tend to do is create courses for instructors who already have a skill
Yeah.
set, have already been training
Mm-hmm.
10, 15, 20 years. So they can see my stuff and they can just go and use it
Yeah.
because
That's true.
they know how to move their body. They know body mechanics. They understand alignment, position, pressure, and all the concepts that are foundational in martial arts footwork. So for me, it's not like you can't learn martial arts online. I don't agree. Anyone could send me a video of martial arts and I could learn. Now, would it be as good as one-on-one instruction with the instructor? Absolutely not. But if the person lives on the other side of the world, one-on-one
Yeah.
instruction may not be possible.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
So I create resources for instructors to learn and to grow and hopefully to develop, and I'm enjoying it. And also, I
Mm.
hope other instructors do the same.
It's actually great because you're basically giving a support, an educational support and material support to instructors who sometimes are looking for ways to improve the way they teach or the way they handle classes. Because I mean, looking back as well, when I started like teaching martial arts, I had to do my research. I had to read a lot. I had to watch videos as well, instructional videos, the same as when I started teaching like self-defense. Same thing with dance. So I had to watch like different teachers teaching how to break down certain figures, how to teach the footwork, how to do this, because at least it gives you an idea how to communicate it much better. Because sometimes one instructor would basically give you a good example of how to break down things, but sometimes they don't manage to connect with certain people.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
a different instructor can give you an avenue, basically,
Yes.
to how to connect with certain people. So I do find value in like learning from different instructors as well.
Yeah, that's because you're an open-minded martial artist. But a lot of martial artists are not, are they? They're quite closed, and it's my way and our way of doing it is the only way of doing it, and almost cult-like. This is how we do things. I get that, but I kind of think it comes from a place of fear.
Hmm.
That they don't like to be challenged by things outside of their experience, or different ways of doing things, or different ways of viewing things. Luckily, I've always been around really open-minded instructors.
Mm.
Anton's always encouraged me to go and train with whoever I liked. Bob has always encouraged me. Eric Paulson has done the same. It's because they're JKD people. Essentially, they're like, go and research your own experience, go and find your own way.
Yeah.
That was awesome. I only really had one instructor who was kind of like, no, you must do it my way, and you must never train with anyone else. Our way is the only way of doing it. And I didn't stay there long. I was gone in about 3 months, because I now, that's not to say, and obviously the counter argument to that is, yes, but if you're learning from 5 different instructors, they're all contradicting each other, and saying you should do it like this, don't like, you get like a bit of a mismatch of like a
Mm.
mess that's not particularly well structured. I do agree with that. I think you need a base.
Yeah.
I think you
That's
need to
true.
do 10 years of one martial art and get your base down, and then start exploring. I think trying to mix everything too early, you just become a
You,
bit,
yeah.
a bit of a mess
Hmm.
of different things. So
Yeah.
but that's just my opinion. But once you have a base down, you spent a decade in one art, and you're not a master after a decade, but you should have your fundamentals down.
Hmm.
Then start exploring, start
Mm.
going in different directions and seeing what takes your interest. That's like
Yeah.
how I encourage my students. But I know a lot of instructors are very controlling. I think
Hmm.
part of that is financial, if I'm honest. I think they build big clubs, big associations, big uh, organizations around themselves, and they don't want to lose out by on the money that they're receiving from the organizations by encouraging people to go and explore. So they get in a fear state, and they try and hold on to what they've got, and then it becomes a bit tainted, and it becomes a
Yeah,
bit
that's true.
cult-like. And we all know martial arts organizations and instructors like that. Really, yeah, I mean, it's about control, and they want to control their minions, and control their people, and get the adoration from their members, and be like the messiah, and also keep the money that's in that environment.
Hmm.
And that happens across all martial art styles. It's not
Mm.
one particular style. It happens across all martial art styles. It's just not something I could ever really be comfortable with. It just seems a bit operating from a fear state rather than kind
Yeah.
of a open.
Actually, it's not just in martial arts. It also
Oh, is it not?
happens in dance.
Ah, right. Okay.
I mean, it's very. I mean, dance is also at some point in some dances are really political about the way people should dance, the way people should teach, and
Who they should
it's not
speak
just
to,
in
who
martial
they
arts.
should train with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's all power
Right.
games, isn't it? It's
Yes.
someone gets a certain amount of power, and then they're like, oh, this is addictive and amazing, and like,
Mm.
I love this adoration. You can see it with fighters in like MMA, for example. Like when they start getting good and they start getting known and exposure, and the fans start to love them, it must be so addictive to have that amount of praise and
Oh yeah.
attention and love.
Mm.
And then, as you get beaten up and you get battered, and fighters don't know when to quit, so they keep fighting because they love that the glory and everything about fighting, and they keep getting knocked out, and eventually
Mm.
they have to quit. That happens a lot. I think it's the same with martial arts instructors.
Mm.
We get this power, and our students, they do look at us kind of like we're special, because
Yeah.
we can do all this cool stuff. um, and they're like, "Ooh." And that is quite intoxicating, I think, for people who maybe don't have a lot of that in their life naturally, and then to have 100 students who just listen to everything you say and respect
Mm.
everything you do, and follow you ever instruction, you can see why it goes a bit wrong with a lot of instructors and gets quite
Mm.
dark,
Yeah.
because that can be an issue. So, but luckily, I've always had great instructors who just let me do what the hell I like, which is good.
Okay. We've got a few comments here from Hyle. I used some of his myth concepts when I was teaching kickboxing. His videos were a good source to mix up the drills. I do
Exactly.
agree. I do. Yeah, I do agree, Hyle. Craig Mason from Ontario, Canada. I have several programs from Matt. Great content.
Thank you, Craig. Very nice.
Yeah.
That's the whole idea of what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to give resources. I don't expect people to love everything I create,
Mm.
but maybe they buy a course and they take 30% of it
Yeah.
and they go, oh, that's
Why
cool.
not?
And drag that out and add it to their system, to their style, to their teaching. And hopefully that helps them. That's great.
Mm.
That's all I want. I just want to
Yeah.
help instructors. I think martial arts instructors do an amazing job in the community. We help people, we care about people, we're passionate, we are like kind to people, we build people's confidence, we get them fit, we teach them how to defend themselves and avoid abusive situations. So that's quite important work, like in a person in a community. I think that's really important. So my passion is helping instructors just get better at
Mm.
that and teach great lessons, because the key to kind of running a successful martial arts studio, school, dojo, quan, whatever, is to teach amazing classes. Like, you can have the best marketing in the world and you can have the best facility in the world, but if you don't teach great classes,
Mm.
people just don't stick around long enough, and you're constantly churning through people and you get a reputation in the local areas not teaching great stuff. And so, yeah, I think teaching great classes is the key. So I just try and help instructors do that.
Mm. Oh, sorry. Now, um, besides Meet Master, you do quite a lot of online stuff, or basically helping instructors to
Mm.
be able to get themselves online, like creating websites. And yeah, I attended one of your seminars basically. That was maybe 2 months ago. That was about getting yourself online, or
Yeah.
marketing and getting yourself online, which basically, yep, I'm going to say, yep, it kicked me in the backside. Because I'm going to admit, make me teach anything, I'll be able to do it, but
Yes. Yeah.
marketing, yeah, I think that's my downfall.
Yeah. But I think that's a lie you're telling yourself. I don't think that's true. And I think that's for a lot of instructors. They're like, we say, and I used to be the same, I'm no good at marketing, I'm no good at selling, and sales sucks, and I'm not going to do any of that. I'm just going to teach martial arts, which is great. But obviously, if you want to build a school to a certain level that maybe it can support your lifestyle so that you can
Mm,
quit the day job and teach martial arts and help people, and that's your passion, then you're going to have to get at least a basic
mm,
understanding of marketing and a basic understanding of sales. Like, martial arts, I think, should teach people teach people how to solve problems in their life, and find the resources to solve problems, and have the discipline and determination and dedication to work through uncomfortable stuff. So
mhm,
when you first learn marketing, it's really uncomfortable and it feels like a drag and it's hard and it's difficult, and it's like figuring it out is but if you persevere and you work through it, you get good at marketing, and then you understand really marketing is martial arts. It's the same
mhm,
principles, it's the same concepts. It's all about positioning, leverage, understanding your opponent, all of these sort of things. So I think we say we don't like marketing probably because we're not good at it. And if we got good at it, we'd be like, I love marketing. Like, I love marketing. I think it's awesome. It's like an ability for me to communicate the value of what I have to another person so that I can improve their life. What's wrong with that?
mm,
Like,
mm, mm,
it's not dirt. It's not like a dirty thing. It's not a bad thing.
mm,
You're just communicating in a way that takes all this knowledge in your head and puts it in the other person's head, and they go, "Oh yeah, actually, I could use that in my life. That's cool. I'll buy it off you." Whether that's martial arts classes, whether that's online courses, whether it's whatever you're trying to market. So I think the more skilled you get at marketing, the more you enjoy it. Funnily enough,
All
which
right.
is which is the same as like anything, like
Yeah.
learning martial arts, isn't it? The first class, I remember learning several martial arts where I felt really uncomfortable, and this sucked. Jiu-jitsu being one, um, because and when you first start jiu-jitsu, you just get tapped out by everyone, you get squished by everyone, you got people's big sweaty bodies pressing on your face, people dripping sweat on you, they're squeezing you, they're cranking you, they're hurting you, and it sucks. But also there was like, so my opinion on jiu-jitsu at that time was it sucked, but there's also that little glimmer of, oh, but what if I could get good at it?
Mm,
It's
mm,
quite powerful
mm.
stuff. Just think the same about marketing. Like, it sucks, you got to learn, it's uncomfortable, it's stuff you're not sure about, you try stuff, it doesn't work, you try it again, it doesn't work, you try it again, it doesn't work. But when you get good at it, it's like amazing. So I think it's just a
Mm.
mindset
A mindset,
shift that
yes.
people need to,
Mm. I
they
do
just need
remember
to
that from
just,
the I do remember that from the webinar. It's a mindset
yeah,
shift.
yeah, yeah. I think, yeah. I mean, if I could put you in 5 years' time in your brain where you've truly got really skilled at marketing, you'd be like, Matt, this is amazing. Like, I can have so much impact, I can have so much influence, I can help people, I can get my message to more people. Um, but I think people think marketing is kind of like bad and manipulative,
Hmm.
um, and sleazy. And
I
there's
think it
obviously
depends
bad
on how you
manip.
use it.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
Yeah. Um, but my thing with marketing is it's more, it's my ability to share my message with more people to help them. You know, I'm not holding a gun to someone's head and making them buy an online course.
Mm,
If
mm,
I do a
mm.
good job,
Yeah,
they're buying a course, and all my courses come with guarantees anyway. So if you don't like my course, you can give it back and get your money back. So
yeah.
like, it's like zero risk. Um, but yeah, as far as running a martial arts school, you do need marketing, and if you're going to do the online course thing, which I think is important for instructors to do, because legacy, I think the main thing is legacy. So
Mm,
you think about ancient martial arts masters from 200 years ago, the only way they could continue their legacy onward would be to teach to a student who would continue it on a senior student when they died, right? Or they would write manuals. But it's hard to learn martial arts from a manual. Like, now we've
mm.
got video, it's a lot easier, right? But the problem with teaching to a senior student is a senior student is then going to take your, what you've created, and turn it into their own martial art, because based on their own personality, temperament, physics, body type, preferences. So it's no longer your legacy. They've now taken it and it's
Created,
their
yeah.
legacy, and they will pass
Mm.
it on and pass it on, eventually.
Mm.
The only way to really preserve your legacy as an instructor is to record it in digital content, because then it doesn't change, it doesn't age, it doesn't get modified by another person. It's just like truly preserving what you're about and who you are and what you've been teaching. And I look back on videos I created like 12 years ago, and I'm like, I was a different person. Like, it's amazing to see what I was doing back then and what I'm doing now, and the differences and the way I teach and the way I express myself. And you know, by the time I hopefully don't die for another, how old am I, 40 years, let's give myself to 90, that's 40 years recorded content of my progression through martial arts, my journey, what I've learned, my interpretation. So in the end, there'll be 50 years worth of content that I can pass on to my kids, my future generations, or anyone who wants to watch my stuff in 50 years' time. I think that's amazing. And I think, you know, if you don't record yourself digitally now,
Yeah.
when you die, all of that knowledge is gone. It
Mm.
literally, the day you die, it leaves your brain and it's never to be seen again. And I think that's a bit of a tragedy. So I think, for no other reason, all instructors should create some sort of online resource or online content that, you know, expresses what, who they are, what they're about, their journey through martial arts. Even if you don't sell it, even if it's not for sale, it's just a recorded legacy of your training and your journey. I think that's super valuable and important.
Ah, okay. Right. Before I ask my next question, Hael said, great myth holders are rare. You are a good resource to make the instructors better holders for their students and to teach how to be a better holder for your training partner. Nice point
Thank you
coming
very
from
much.
Hael here. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, great pad holders are rare. basically because people don't really like holding pads as much as I do. So most people want to hit the pads, right? They want the other person to hold the pads so they can hit it. I'm really into holding pads and getting positioning right and getting things right and being technical and changing range and footwork and head movement and timing and all of the sort of stuff. So I fell in love with holding pads. I also love hitting pads, but I really fell in love with. I thought pads were the next best thing to sparring in terms of development of a striker. Say for
Mm.
sport like Muay Thai, you can do road work, so it gets your legs strong and you're fit. You can do bag work, so you can maximize your power and your technique. You can do shadow boxing, which works. But the two things that really kind of bump your level up and make you really good are, in my opinion, pad work and sparring. And if you don't have pad work and sparring, you're not a very functional martial artist. So
Mm.
I like,
Mm.
you know, pad work and sparring is my thing. So I create resources that help people with that. But it does take a long time to get good at holding pads. You kind of got to care about what you're doing and be disciplined. Most people are kind of disciplined when they're hitting the pads,
Mm-hmm.
but when they're holding the pads themselves, they're kind of thinking about what they're going to do next, or maybe what they're going to have for dinner tonight, or maybe they're looking around the gym and seeing who's in, or they're chatting. So they're not really caring about the pad work.
Oh,
They're
I see. Okay.
they're just caring about their turn. But if you're a good pad holder, you're actually thinking about your mechanics when you're feeding, you're coaching your partner,
Mm.
you're helping them,
Yeah.
you use, all of these things. So yeah, it is hard to find a good pad holder, but they're worth their weight in gold if you do find them. Hold on to them because they're special.
I mean, Padworks is actually a good way to isolate certain skills, and even like even during this isolation, you manage to bring your partner into a progressive, uh, yeah, basically in a progressive way.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you do it
yeah.
properly, though.
Pad work should be progressive. I'm a big fan of isolate a technique and drill it,
Mm-hmm.
isolate it without any footwork, without any head movement, just on the spot. Then start to kind of integrate it with your techniques that you know, and then add in footwork, head movement, and moving around, and then interpret it. And so, like
Yeah.
isolate and integrate and interpret, make it your own. Because the way I teach you it may not be the right for your body type, your body shape, your mechanics, your
Yeah, that's
temperament,
true.
and you
Mm-hmm.
make it your own, you interpret the technique and make it your own. So yeah, pad work is one of the keys to creating like great fighters. And although in boxing they didn't really use focus mitts until I believe the 50s or 60s, so they weren't doing pad work, they were doing bag work, running, sparring, and that was kind
Mm.
of all of it. It's only in the 50s and 60s that pad work started to come in as a training method, and now it's massively important. All fighters want time on the pads.
Mm. And even with the way watching some of your videos, it's not only Padworks that you're using now. You're also using like padded sticks.
Yeah, boxing sticks. Yeah, well, that was obviously
Boxing sticks, yeah.
partly the Filipino influence because I remember seeing an instructional series from Guru Dana Santos where he was holding two rattan sticks on the ends, and he was getting Eric Paulson to punch them in different combinations and feeding back different stuff and encouraging Eric to move his head and stuff. So I was like, oh, that's cool. And then boxing sticks started to become popular. They're kind of like big padded eskrima sticks,
Hmm.
like but the idea of a boxing stick is that people have to be super accurate because the boxing stick's that wide. It's not like a focus mitt wide,
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah,
tie back wide.
yeah,
It's that wide. So you
yeah,
have to be really accurate and get your two biggest knuckles hitting right in the middle of the stick. But the advantage for the holder is less damage. One of the
yeah.
problems of holding pads is you can get damaged by
Mm.
fighters who are bigger, heavier, stronger, more aggressive, who maybe hit you at an awkward angle and you blow out your elbow, your wrist, or your shoulder.
That happened to me. my I injured my right wrist. Took a while for it
Holding
to,
pads.
yeah, from Padworks. Yeah, somebody just
Yes.
basically keep on pounding instead of hitting here, they kept on pounding here.
Yeah.
So that basically like, yeah,
Yeah,
I
that
injured
happens a
my
lot.
wrist.
So there's a
Yeah.
few rules I have with holding pads. I now do not hold pads for anyone heavier than me. So
Okay.
I'm 90 kilos. So if I
Mm.
got a student in the gym who's 100 kilos, I'd be like, I'm not holding pads for you. You have to find a different trainer because the extra 10, 20, 30, 40 kilos that someone has over you is a lot of impact that your body's going to absorb.
That's true. That's true.
I also don't hold pads for someone until they know how to hit with control. So I won't let a beginner totally like wail on the pads with me. They have to be training a few months and have hit the bag, and I can see that they've got control of their technique, so I can coach them on the pads. I also make sure the pads are always facing me like this
Mm.
when I'm not doing anything, because I've had the experience of holding pads and I'm thinking about what I want to say next, and they just whack this pad,
They just walk.
like
Mm.
because they can see the pad, so they go whack, and then my shoulder's out for 2 weeks because I wasn't
Mm.
tight and tense and ready for it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I always do this with the pads because they can't hit anything then, and then I flash pads when I want them to hit.
Mm.
And I tend to work with women more than men because women are less interested in smashing as hard as they can and more interested in
Technique.
precision and technique.
Precision. Yeah.
And
Mm.
finally, I use air pads. I only ever hold air pads now. So air pads are quite thick and they have an air chamber in the middle that
Mm.
absorbs a lot of the impact, much better than
Ah.
the other types of focus mitts I've used. So if you are holding pads, all manufacturers now do air pads. Try out air pads; they will save you a lot of damage.
Yeah. That's a nice tip.
Top tips,
Top
five top
yeah,
tips there.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I should do
So,
this.
I mean, normally we do with this interview. Basically, we do like we do like to ask questions about like technique or styles and everything. But
Hmm.
because you are more into like the online stuff and helping teachers basically to get out more. I mean, what I would I don't know, you might have already like mentioned some of them earlier on. But what are your five top tips for teachers in getting themselves online or getting an
Well,
online presence? Yeah.
before I even get there, we need to deal with mindset. So I can tell
Okay.
you these tips, but if your mindset's wrong, you're not going to take any action or you're not going to do the work. So
Actually, that might be the first tip.
yeah,
Yeah.
mindset number
The
one.
mindset number one. Yes.
So there's a lot of instructors who want to create online resources and online courses, maybe for themselves, maybe for their students, maybe for other people, maybe to sell, maybe to make a secondary income. But they have like three major fears that really stop them. One is fear of tech, one is fear of trolls, and one is fear of it not working. So
Mm-hmm.
fear of tech is another thing that martial artists tell ourselves is we're not good at tech, we're good at kicking and punching people and hitting them with a stick. But that's not true either. Like if you can use a smartphone, you have enough skills to create online courses and edit video and do all of that sort of stuff. So that's a lie that we're telling ourselves that, the technology nowadays, the technology is really easy to use, so you don't need any particular skills. The second one is fear of trolls. I think this is probably one of the biggest ones. People are
Mm.
scared. Martial arts instructors are scared, fearful of other people's opinions online, which is mad in my opinion, because why do you care what someone from Australia thinks of your technique? Like, why would that affect you in any sort of way? Why would that shake you and make you upset
Mm.
or make you angry or make you aggressive towards that person? It's just someone on a computer just talking absolute rubbish.
Mm.
So you
Yeah.
just ban and delete them and you move on. But it's such a massive stumbling block. I've talked to
Mm-hmm.
some very high level instructors who've got 40, 50 years experience teaching. They are elite level, and they put up a post on Facebook and someone says, yeah, you should turn your heel when you hook, and they go crazy. They go like, "How dare you? I've been training," and they get all angry and red in the face. I'm like, why are you getting so worked up about this person that you've never met, you've never trained with, you never, why are you valuing their opinion above the 50 years experience that you have?
Mm.
So
Mm.
fear of trolls, you have to overcome that. If you put stuff out online, most people are going to be respectful, and you're going to get one or two dicks who are going to say something offensive. That's just part and parcel of it. Enjoy it, because you can help more people. Like focus on the 99% who
Yeah.
love what you do,
90%. Yeah. True.
who don't. So that's like the second mindset thing. And I think related to that is imposter syndrome, where people are like,
Mm.
yes, but I'm not good enough to create an online course because there is this instructor who is so much more skilled than I. How who am I to create an online course when this person
Mhm.
exists and they're just
Mhm.
like 1,000 times better than you? What you got to understand is some people only resonate to the way you explain things and the way you teach. And
Mhm.
we all have a way of communicating that resonates with a certain type of people, certain type of person. Um, so you need to create content for that person. The the super amazing martial artist is going to create content for their own audience. You're going to create
Yeah.
content for an audience of people who just like the way you teach, like the way you express yourself, like your personality, like your character, like how you describe what's going on in your videos. So although the super amazing mega person might have a million fans and followers, you can build a business and be very successful with 10,000 fans or followers who really love just how you teach. So imposter syndrome is another one. And also then the final one is like, it won't work for me. Um,
Mhm.
but there's no losing with an online course. You create an online course, it's your passion, you've shared what you love into this online course, you then launch it into the world and no one buys it. So what? You've created a resource that is
Yeah.
useful, which you could give to your students, or
Mhm.
you could try a different way of marketing it, or you could try a different way of finding people who'd be into what you're into. So all of these things combined in a martial arts instructor's head is going around and they go, yeah, I don't do online courses. But secretly they'd like to, but this is all the fears that are rattling in
Yeah.
their
Yeah. Yeah.
that stop them taking that next step. So part of my job is to help instructors overcome those fears and create content. Once they've sorted that out and they're ready to create content, then it's build an audience before you build a product. This is so important. The classic mistake, including myself, we all make when we think, I'm going to create an online course, is we spend 3, 4, 5, 6 months
Mhm.
filming, editing, building, creating this a wonderful online course, 20 hours of content, like world-class stuff. And then we launch it on a rainy Tuesday to no one, to crickets, nothing happens. And that's because
Ah.
we didn't build an audience, we built the course first. So then if you haven't got an
Okay.
audience, it's like, you just, an example would be you could have a dojo, the most well-equipped dojo in the world, and you could have Ichin Funakoshi, Bruce Lee, and Cheng Man Ching teaching martial arts
Yeah.
at this. So it's got great level martial artists, right? Jigoro Kano, it's got like the martial artists in it.
All the top ones.
But if you haven't advertised that this school is opening and it's got all these
Yeah.
facilities and it's got these amazing teachers, and you just open the door on a Tuesday,
Mm.
rainy afternoon, who's outside? No one, because you
Nobody.
haven't
Mm.
marketed it, you haven't built an audience. So, as an analogy for martial arts instructors, that's how it plays. So you have to build an audience first. How do you build an audience? You share your message, your passion on one primary platform. And
Okay.
for me, that was Facebook. I like Facebook. I use Facebook. So I created a Facebook page, started sharing videos, sharing my ideas, sharing my content. That started to build. Right now, it's about 20, no, 35,000 fans on the page, which is small.
Mhm.
It's not a big page, but it's 35,000 fans who are into what I'm into
Yeah.
and will
That's yeah.
listen to me. So
Mhm.
that's quite powerful, right? So you do the same. But if you prefer Instagram, you do the same on Instagram. If you prefer YouTube, you do the same on YouTube. So you just find
One
one
platform.
platform
Okay.
and you nail that platform and you commit to 100 of whatever you're creating. So I create video. So you commit to 100 videos going on this Facebook page, and on YouTube you commit to creating 100 YouTube videos that will go on this page. On Instagram you create 100 posts. You have to commit to 100 minimum. You're not going to get any sort of traction without 100. In fact, 100 is probably too low, but it's a starting point, right? What most
So
people do is they go,
how often do you need to like post every day? Or yeah.
so if you're posting on Facebook, ideally every other day to,
Okay,
to
every other
daily.
day.
Same on Instagram. YouTube once a week is fine.
Okay.
But yeah, but it has to be consistent. Like you have to be now. The more you post, the more the algorithm tends to like you. The more reach you'll get, and the more people will find you. But
Okay.
you have to commit to these. You have to commit to this 100. Do not expect anything to happen
Mhm.
unless you have 100 pieces of content out in the world. Now, most people go, oh, geez, what? That's a lot of work. Maybe not. I don't want to do this. And I understand that it is a lot of work. This type of business, I always tell my clients, because I coach people on how to set up online courses and build this type of business. This business is like pushing a large boulder up a hill. The boulder
Mhm.
starts at the bottom of the hill, and you
Mhm.
push and it doesn't move, and you push and it doesn't move, and you push and it starts to roll, and it rolls a little bit, and so they continue to push, and you start pushing up the hill, and it's massive amount of work and effort, and you push and you push and you push, and then what most people do is they go, this is too hard, so they take their hands off the boulder and step out the way.
Slice.
What does the
Mm.
boulder do? It rolls to the
Slice
bottom
back
of the hill
down.
again and
Mhm.
stops, goes back to being inert. And then a few months later, they go, I really should have carried on with the online stuff. You know, it could have been, they see other people doing it and they see me doing it and they're like, well, he's not that great. I could do the same thing. So they go back to their boulder. They
Mhm.
got to get it going again. So they put a massive amount of effort. It doesn't move. It doesn't move. It starts moving. They start pushing it up the hill. Start pushing it. They're getting further now. It's going up the hill. It's great. And then they go, oh, this doesn't work. They stop. They let go of the. It rolls back down to the bottom.
Mm.
What I did is, I spent a year trying to market my first DVD. It didn't sell, but eventually I sold
Okay.
one copy, pushing the boulder up the hill. And then,
Mhm.
a few months later, I sold another copy, and it started. So I started to create momentum on the boulder. And at some point after, and I would say, it's just 2 to 3 years work. So it's not quick, but at some point, the boulder tips over the top of the hill. So it's
Mhm.
you're right at the top. Give it that
Yeah.
one last little shove, that one last little thing, and it just goes and goes over, and then
It goes
starts
on.
to pick up momentum on itself. And that's when you've created enough content and you've created enough resources. You start to get known
All
as
right. Okay.
that guy. Oh, it's Master Matt. Check out his courses. Like, people find you organically. People recommend you. You start showing up on Google. You start to become what they call the go-to guy. Like, if
Okay.
someone wants pad work, I want to be the go-to guy that they go to first before anyone else.
Mm. Mm.
That's when your boulder's rolling down the opposite side of the hill, and it's much less effort. Things happen. You get invited on podcasts. You get to chat to people. You get clients all over the world. You get invited to do seminars, workshops, certifications. It
All
starts
right.
to build organically. But that's 2 to 3 years of pushing the
So to
boulder up.
3 years of, yeah, persistent work.
Persistence, yeah, and
Yeah.
not expecting any sort of reward or it to work for a long time, which
Mm.
is
Mm.
really difficult for most people to do
Mm.
because they want
Mm.
instant gratification and instant rewards. And so what
Mm.
happens is they'll post on Facebook, 0 likes, 0 followers. They'll post on Facebook, 0 likes, 0 followers. They'll post on Facebook, zero
Okay.
likes.
All right. Okay.
1 like, 0 followers, 0 likes, 0 followers, 10 likes. Okay, it's start, but like, people have quitted. They've quit by that
Okay.
point. They just
When with regards to Facebook, because you can either set up a page, you can set up a group,
hmm,
or basically you can set up another profile for
hmm.
you. Which one is better?
You need both. You need a page and a group. A
Page and a
page,
group.
your page is external focus for marketing to people who don't know you out into the world. So that with a page you can do Facebook ads. With a page you can reach more people like that. A
Mm-hmm.
group is internally focused on serving your members and retention of your fans and
Your
supporting
fans.
your
Okay.
fans. So you need both,
Okay.
um, which means obviously you need to create content for both groups. So there are
Yeah.
ways of creating content that saves you time. You can do things like batch film. You can use certain video editing that creates like clips of your content. You can outsource this type of stuff. That's for later on. Really, you have to do the
Mm.
manual work of building an audience. A good
Okay.
person in the Filipino world who's done this really well is Harry Flexman. I believe you had him on. Have you spoken
Yeah.
about?
Yeah.
So Harry, a few years ago, was teaching Filipino martial arts in his local town. He's part of an association, and he wanted to do some stuff online. He got in touch, and we started working together and just encouraging him to create content and share and build. And now he's built himself a nice little following of people who respect his opinion, and they like the way he teaches. He's got a good
Mm.
humorous style of presentation. That's what you need to do. You need to build this audience. Once you've built the audience, which is, like I say, a 1 to 3 year task,
Mhm.
you then go to the audience, next step, and say, what would you like? What can I build for you that would make your life easier?
Mhm.
So when I did this with my audience, they all came back to me and said, syllabuses and lesson plans. Like,
All right.
I want a syllabus that I can maybe edit or use, and
Mhm.
I want lesson plans to help me be more creative when I'm teaching classes. I've got different ideas for teaching classes. So I went to my audience, I asked them what they wanted, and then I built them what they wanted. Now, because they already trust me, because we've
Yeah.
built this relationship online, you can do something which is called pre-selling. So pre-selling is you build trust with an audience, and you go to the audience and say, what would you like? They say lesson plans. You go, great, I'm going to build these lesson plans. They'll be ready in 6 weeks. You can pre-order them now with
Mhm.
for example, 50% discount. If you order them now, um, here's the link to pay.
Okay.
Now, if you've built enough relationship and trust with the audience, they will pay you for something that doesn't exist, which is like really weird.
Mm.
But what that means is you can test your ideas.
Yeah.
So I have an audience. I say I'm going to create this product. If enough of you buy it, I'll create it. If enough of you don't buy it, I'll refund everyone who's paid the money, and I'll give you a free bonus XYZ.
Okay.
So there's no losing.
Yeah.
So when I do this, I generally generate hundreds of sales
Mm.
quickly for something that doesn't exist,
Okay.
which is pretty crazy because it's basically making money from nothing, from
Nothing.
ideas
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and your
Yeah.
ability
Yeah.
to communicate and your relationship with you have with this audience.
Mhm.
Of course, you have to build the thing afterwards, but that's not a problem. Uh, but this is the opposite of what most people do. Most people create the course first, which takes ages. Then they try and find an audience. They haven't got an audience, so they launch their product to no one, don't make any sales, and then try and market after that. The
Okay.
other way of doing it is build the audience first, ask them what products they want, get them
Mm.
to pre-order the products so don't have to create them straight away, and then deliver the product 6 weeks later. That works
Okay.
better.
Oh, I see. All right. Okay. Yeah. Mm.
But
That's yeah. That's actually a good. Yeah, that's a good thing. But yeah, you need to have like, you have to have built your audience first at that point,
you
and
do,
you
which most
should
people
have.
don't have the patience for,
Mm. Mm.
which is good
I've
for
got
me.
actually. Yeah. Yeah, I've got a lot of patience.
Yeah,
Actually,
exactly.
I've got a question. Um, Normally when you when you post something in Facebook, like for example for your page, and they ask you to boost it by
Mm,
paying,
mm.
is there is there is that something that will really help you for your product to be able to be seen by a lot of people, or there are other ways to get around it?
So what happened was Facebook about 6, 7 years ago, you'd have a page, say it's got
Mm-hmm.
1,000 people on the page, and you'd
Mm-hmm.
post something, and then 800 of those people would see the post and then comment.
Yeah.
It was great. It was the good
Mm.
old days where people would
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
see
Yeah.
the stuff that you put out there. But then obviously Facebook is really just a business, so they want to make
Mm.
money. And how they make money is through marketing and advertising. So they changed the rules about 6 years ago. They basically cut the amount of people who would see. Say you would nowadays you make a post, you've got 1,000 people on your Facebook page, and Facebook will show it to 100 or
Okay.
200. It just won't show it to the other 800 because
Mm-hmm.
what it wants you to do is spend money
Spend
boosting
money.
your post so that more people can see it. So if you're going to do the whole Facebook thing, a group is good because a group you can post and people see the content because it's internal and Facebook's not trying to monetize that. So that's why a Facebook group's good. For the external, for the page, you will have to pay if you want your people to see your content, all of your people. Now, it's not a
Uh,
lot usually. Say you've got 1,000 people in your Facebook group, you could spend £2 on a post and make sure that everyone saw it within a Facebook group. Obviously, the bigger the Facebook group, the more it's going to cost you. But yeah, that's what they did. Um, Same on Instagram and most of the other
Oh,
channels. So
same on Instagram now.
yeah,
Okay.
it's all restricted because Facebook owns Instagram, but also
Oh
they
yeah,
just
yeah,
want to
that's true. That's
they
true.
want you to spend money in order for people to see your stuff.
Okay.
Which you can organically build this stuff and people can see it, but the faster way to do it is obviously through paid ads.
Sure. Yeah.
But paid ads are extremely difficult to make work,
Mm-hmm.
especially initially. So what will happen is people will spend money on boosted posts and Facebook ads, and they don't work, and then they go, well, Facebook ads don't work. You have to learn how to use Facebook ads, and that's something that I've struggled with a lot. Facebook ads, when I first tried them, were just disastrous. I spent about 12 grand on Facebook ads. It didn't work. Got some training, got
Oh,
some help,
really?
did some
Okay.
studying, proved that now Facebook ads are working for me. But for most people, they're quite difficult to make work,
Okay.
sadly.
Yeah, I just actually remember that because one of my friend who like owns a shop before the introduction of the Facebook ad or the boosting, he managed to like get a lot of people to see his post, to
Hmm.
comment on his post, and he knows that it's basically getting somewhere with it. Then this happened. It was like for a time he went like I don't think my even the people who like my page sees
Not
my
seeing
post
it.
anymore.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's difficult.
So
I mean, one of the other ways of getting around it is, in a sense, is to use your own personal profile. So if you see my personal profile,
I see. Yeah. Okay.
Matthew Chapman on Facebook, I do a lot of marketing in it. So it's not just pictures of my kids and my cat
Mm.
and food I'm eating. Like most people use Facebook, I will be in there talking about events I'm running, courses offers I'm making. So that can help because you're less restricted. But obviously,
Yeah.
then you have to be very selective about who you allow to join your profile. So I get a lot of
Mm.
profile requests, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm always searching for the martial artists in the profile requests because I let martial artists join my profile. But once again, your profile is limited to 5,000 followers,
Five
so
thousand. Yeah.
yeah, so it's not great either. I mean, with my Facebook page, I've got 3,500. So
Mm.
yeah, unfortunately, if you really want to see, if you want lots of people to see your stuff, you have to use paid advertising um, for Facebook, Instagram. YouTube is a bit different. If you create content that's really engaging and works well with the algorithm, then it can get seen by a lot of people very quickly, and you can grow quite a large YouTube channel. The issue with that is it's not just enough to post up content on YouTube like I do, which is clips of my videos. So I've done a video on boxing pad work. I'll take a clip
Yeah.
and I'll
Yeah.
put it on YouTube. That's not going to work. You have to create, if you're going to do YouTube, specific content for YouTube that is designed to keep people watching for as long as possible. So
Ah.
one, you have to make sure that you have a great title because no one's going to click if your title's rubbish. So that's the first thing which most people fall down on.
Okay.
Two, you're going to have a really good thumbnail, a thumbnail which grabs people's attention as they're scrolling for YouTube and stops them and then makes
Mm-hmm.
them click on the video. So the thumbnail's got to be good. And then you've got to start your video really strong with action within 3 seconds, whereas people just click back out because they're bored. So the
Yeah.
classic mistake instructors make is they start their videos on YouTube with like talking.
Explanation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey guys, so we're here today and we're going to look at this particular stick striking pattern. So, whereas really what you want to do for YouTube to get people hooked and to keep them watching for as long as possible, which is the goal, because then YouTube wants to show more of your stuff to more people, is to start with
Mm-hmm.
5 seconds of action. So start with people hitting sticks, bam, 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 like doing the
Yeah.
drills
Yeah.
at full speed, with all the sound that goes of stick fighting and the movement and all of that, so that people are like, wow, what's this? This is cool. And then you go into the explanation bit, but you try and keep that short as well because
Short.
people's attention spans
Mm-hmm.
are pretty crap nowadays. So yeah, YouTube's not easy either. You have to know what you're doing with YouTube. You have to know how to seed stuff later on in the video. So if you watch professional YouTubers, they'll start strong, and then they'll do
Yeah.
maybe a bit of instruction. And at some point, they'll go, and just make sure you watch to the end of this video because I've got a really special technique at the end that I'm only going to show.
Ah, all right. Okay.
So what they're doing is they're increasing people's watch time, and the more watch time you have on YouTube, the more YouTube goes, well, this person is obviously doing well. We'll show
Hmm.
their stuff to more people during in the algorithm. So yeah, YouTube's
Okay.
its own, it's its own problem. So this is all about understanding marketing and understanding what these platforms want. You got to understand that
Okay.
Facebook is not trying to help you; it's trying to make money. Same with
Yes. Right.
Instagram,
Yeah.
same with YouTube,
True.
right?
True.
So, like a classic mistake a lot of instructors make is they'll make a video on YouTube and then they'll share it on Facebook as a
That's
YouTube link.
me.
Yeah, yeah. And you know why that doesn't work, right?
Yeah, because of course Facebook won't show much of the one that you shared from YouTube because they're from different
Yeah, the competitors.
the
They're all
competitors. Yeah.
vying for your attention. So Facebook's like, why the hell have you put a YouTube clip on here? We're not going to show it to anyone. So what you because Facebook wants to keep you on Facebook so that you're seeing more ads, you're spending more money, engage with more content. They don't want you then ditching and bailing and going to YouTube and then
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
lost
yeah,
in
yeah.
YouTube.
That's true. That's true.
So you've got to understand how these platforms work and what they want. If you give the platforms what they want, they reward you with more views, more people,
All right.
more
Okay.
eyes, more
Okay.
attention. They really got to know what you're doing because it's not enough just to chuck content up like it used to be
Okay.
back in my day. You've got to have a bit of a strategy going with it. Oh, you've gone. You've gone silent.
Oh.
I can't hear you. Oh, you're back now.
Oh yeah.
Literally, you just disappeared for a second there.
Those are handy tips actually to know. I mean, because some of this stuff I don't know as well. The my experience, I just because normally I just create videos as a reviewer for my student.
Right, yeah. No, your volume's gone again. No,
Oh
you can
yeah,
do
I
it.
can.
You're back now. You're back
Oh,
now. You seem to be
what's
dropping
happening?
out every couple of seconds. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I used to basically like create just videos from my student as a reviewer.
Yeah.
So started with Facebook, but it's like um somehow I shifted to YouTube.
Okay.
I can't remember why. I shifted to YouTube and then just basically created stuff for YouTube,
Hmm.
having a playlist and then just sharing it to Facebook. I just started noticing that yeah, it's almost like nobody really look or watching it or something. It's like
Hmm.
it doesn't even like register in Facebook. So now I understand why.
Yeah, Facebook will artificially hold that down because it doesn't
Mm,
want people moving to YouTube. So
mm,
it's a battle for attention. Basically,
mm,
they're all competing. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Google,
yeah.
YouTube, they're all competing for your attention. So they
Mm,
try and keep you on platform for as long as possible.
all right.
So yeah, if you're going to use YouTube, if you're going to use Facebook for content, post directly onto Facebook with the video,
Okay.
and then we get more reach. If you're going to use YouTube, you can do both. So you can put the same content on Facebook and YouTube. But once again, remember that on YouTube, you need to make it engaging, make it interesting, make the start really strong,
Mm,
which also
mm.
applies to Facebook. You've got to kind of get people's attention within 3 seconds.
With the internet, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
because they're just like, you've seen how fast kids scroll nowadays.
Oh yeah, that's true.
They don't feel like
I
that.
know.
If you don't like get them straight away, yeah, it's hard.
Mm. Well, they're actually nice tips. I mean, for instructors like me or for people like me, who's because I mean, I'm not really. I do use social media quite a lot, but it's not really for the purpose of like, I mean, selling stuff or something or selling my services. It's only now that I'm shifting into it, so I would like to understand how to use them well.
Mm.
Yes, I mean, I do hope that the listeners here or those who will be watching this eventually will basically be able to get some good stuff or some handy tips from you.
Yeah, I mean, really, you need training to do this type of stuff. The Facebook marketing and the YouTube marketing, it's so difficult if you don't know what you're doing. It's like, if I can compare it, it'd be like going into an MMA fight, just like totally not,
not
with no
knowing
idea.
your
You've
not knowing your
seen
opponent.
MMA, but you don't know. Well, you just don't know how to do anything. You've not
Yeah,
got the right conditioning. You've not done the right training. You're going to
yeah.
get battered, right? This is
Mm,
what happens with instructors. They spend on Facebook ads, it doesn't work. They put stuff on Facebook, it doesn't get seen by a lot of people. They do a YouTube channel, it doesn't seem to get any traction. It's because you don't understand how to use the platform correctly, which is not the fault of instructors. It's that
mm,
to really get the best from these platforms and build an audience, you need to understand how they work, what they want, and then kind of give them what they want in terms of, creating the right type of content that gets the engagement, that gets the views, which then feeds into the algorithm and gets more people seeing you. So it's
mm.
called feeding the algorithm monster. You've got to
Yeah,
feed it the right stuff in order to grow an audience.
yeah. See, it's this is something that yeah you have to get like used to, learning how to use the algorithms, basically understanding them,
Mm.
so you'll be able to be more effective. Ah, Anton is here. You
Anton,
won't get much better than
hey
Matt.
Anton,
He knows his stuff, and he's one of the most honest and giving people I have come across. Nailed
thank you,
it,
dude.
Chief.
Nice to see
Oh,
Anton.
and by
He's
the way,
obviously just.
Dean Franco is also here. So
Hey,
the
Dean.
head honcho of FMA discussion. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I mean, yeah, I've with this interview, I've basically learned quite a lot from you with regards to I mean, online stuff. Okay, how to get
Mm.
yourself across online. So I mean, as I've said, I do hope that the listeners and those who will be watching this later on will also like learn from you. Um, there's not much questions around, so I mean, um, to to the instructors or basically to the to the FMA community out there, what w- what will be your advice? Um, I would say when it comes to promoting yourself or putting yourself out there online. I know you've already said a lot, but
Mm.
I mean,
Yeah, yeah, online in general, right?
yeah,
Yeah, I think once again, same things really. Fear. Don't let fear stop you. Accept that you're going to deal with trolls and be comfortable with trolls. Don't take anything personal that's online. You don't need to get upset by what people are gonna say. Consistency is key because all these social media algorithms work on consistency more than anything else, really. So if you think about it, if you post once a month, it's not enough for the computers that are lewd to show it to. So if you can try and commit to posting daily or posting every other day, that will help you meet find more people. The algorithms will support you a little bit more. You'll get more stuff out there, more people will find you. I think having a website is a very good idea. Most martial arts websites are not great. They're not particularly well designed. They're not particularly well set up for SEO, which is basically for search engines so that people can find you. So having a well designed website that does a good job of helping people get in touch with you and helping people learn about you and how you can help them is a like a no-brainer. You should have each martial arts instructor should have a decent website that does a good job. But
hmm
either they build it themselves, which is a massive mistake because martial artists are not website designers and they do a terrible job, or the opposite side of it is they hire an expensive design people or website designer to build the website for you, and it's too flashy, too confusing, and it doesn't work to get people's attention. So you've got to find a middle ground. Ideally, someone who has experience designing websites for martial artists. But by having a website, and if it shows up on the first page of Google,
hmm
you're going to get a lot of inbound inquiries. A lot of people are going to get in touch with you because they found you on Google and they reach out to you and they maybe ask you about what you're doing. They might be interested in classes, they might be interested in coming to train with you. So I think, yeah, having a good website is a good way of putting yourself out there. Obviously, social media if you have the commitment. So don't do social media if you're not going to commit to posting every other day at a minimum.
All right.
If you
Okay.
can't post every other day, just leave social media because you're not going to do enough to push your content, and it's going to be a kind of waste of time for you. So commit to posting, ideally
Committing.
daily. Daily's great, but if not, every other day, with something that helps people, because that's the type of stuff that tends to get shared and commented, and not a post that look how awesome I am, look how amazing I am. More, this is something I've created that can help you do X, Y, and Z. Here's how you can watch it. Here's how you can get more information. So social media is obviously a powerful thing, but you need have to know how to work it and create
You
content
need. Yeah. You
for
need
it.
to.
And just consistency. Like what you're going to do is you're going to create content, you're going to put it out there, you're going to create a website, you're going to put it out there, you're going to write ebooks, you're going to create video content. It's the whole thing of pushing the boulder up the hill. The
Mm,
moment
mm, mm.
you stop on the boulder and take your hands off and walk away, it just slides back down and you have
That's
to
it.
start
Yeah.
start
That's true.
again right from the bottom. It's so, every time I've done that, and this is also with running a martial arts school, the moment you take your eye off the ball in a martial arts school and you stop paying attention to the students' needs and you stop addressing the problems and you stop serving to the highest level that you can do, you start losing students.
Yeah.
There was a
Yeah.
point when I
That's
was
true.
running my school where I took my eye off the ball because I was competing a lot in MMA. I wasn't focused on my student needs. I wasn't focused on the members and what they needed. And we lost about 70 students in a really short period because
Wow.
my mind wasn't on it. I wasn't into it. I wasn't focused on them. So same when you're running that type of business, martial arts school, you need to be consistently serving your members and helping them to the best of
Yeah.
your ability. Same goes with online. You need to be consistently serving and creating content and pushing it out there and seeing what works and
Okay.
seeing what doesn't work, and be willing to deal with the trolls and negativity, the
Mm,
hassles,
mm.
and not expecting magical things to happen very shortly.
Magical. Mm, mm.
Yeah, like if you're running a martial arts school, you understand that it takes a while to get going, right?
Yeah.
It's
That's
not
true. That's
it's
true.
not going to take a month. It's going to,
Mm.
to run a martial arts school and let's say get to 100 members, which is a decent sized martial arts school in the UK. It's quite a large martial arts school in the UK. Most martial arts schools in the UK have 25 members on average. Uh, to get to 100 members, that's going to take you a year or two,
Build
probably,
it up. Yeah.
or three, maybe, to build it up. I don't know why people think that online is any different. Like, you're going to put up a website and suddenly thousands of people are going to get in contact with you and want you to book you for seminars. You have to be persistent. You have to
Okay.
accept that these things take time. It's like black belts in martial arts, right? You wouldn't want a black belt in a year. It would have no
Yeah.
value.
Mm, mm.
You
That's
want
true.
to spend 5, 7, 10 years. That's why jiu-jitsu black belts, although less nowadays, still have a lot of kudos in the martial arts industry because it's a 10-year journey to black belt.
Mm, mm.
Unless you're an elite, highly skilled athlete already and you've got natural skill. For most people, it's a 10-year journey to get to your
Journey.
black belt, which means it has a lot of value. The issue I have with a jiu-jitsu black belt is there's no grading criteria
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of places. Now, some places do have a grading criteria for black belt. You need to know this, and this, and this, and
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But in a lot of jiu-jitsu schools, it's more about time on the mat, competition results, and how well you get on with your instructor. So,
Okay.
although I like the 10 years to get to black belt, I think syllabuses would be a good idea.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
people know stages that they're at and where they're
Yeah.
at and what they need
You.
to know,
Yeah.
and a lot, and that's the next evolution possibly for jiu-jitsu, is actually having syllabuses, grading criteria, grading panels, and things like that. But
Ah. Well, gone again. Hmm. Uh, Matt went. It has been like a very interesting interview with Matt Chapman, especially with regards to online stuff. I hope he comes back. Yeah, I've been having some technical issues as well. Sometimes my signal drops. So I do hope I hope guys that you have learned a lot from Matt when it comes to online stuff in this interview. There he is.
I disappeared for a second.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, I mean, I've been basically saying while you were while you were out that yeah, I really do hope that a lot of the instructors and a lot of not just instructors but FMAs in particular learn a lot from all the things that you have presented tonight.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean, I
it's
think FMA is severely underrepresented in terms of like online content. If you look at
mm,
Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, which was a very niche martial art, ago, for example, they've been creating online content for decades. Like I
okay.
remember getting old Gracie in Action VHS tapes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
pushing to them, and Craig Cookit, I think DVDs back in the day, one of the first Brazilian Jiu Jitsu American black belts. Um, they've been creating online content and resources for a long, long time, and I think it's really helped push them out and promote them and get them seen by a lot of people. But there
Mm,
doesn't seem to be a lot of FMA online content, a lot of FMA online courses. I know some associations and instructors are doing it, but not as many as I would think. I don't know. Is there a reason for that? Do you think that Filipino instructors
the,
are they not
I the,
comfortable pushing stuff out, or
yeah, I think I might be wrong, but there are some instructors who are not comfortable in basically presenting things online. Not that they don't like it, but it's not. It's just the not being comfortable being online. I mean, um, I would basically use myself as as an example. It, I mean, for when I started actually doing this interview, I was really uncomfortable for a time because I'm not used to speaking in front of the camera.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, so yeah, it's one of those things where I become like overconscious. I'm
yeah,
very self-conscious how I'm doing, how I'm looking, what
yeah,
I'm saying, and all those things. And um, I would say for some of those who are um for some of those, for example, who are in like in the Philippines, language barrier is going to be an issue. Yeah.
yeah,
Um, and in some cases, you still have that tribal thinking. Yeah, like what Dean said, you've got like breaking away from the backyard mentality. You still have this. For some, you still have this like I'm better than you. It's yeah, you're so you still have all those you still have all those mixture of a mixture of reasons, I would say.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
you've got instructors who are outside, who are more who are basically more aggressive into putting out content. And I we are already seeing some of the Filipino masters doing it, but with the help of instructors who are, I would say, techie.
hmm,
So they're the ones who basically they're the ones who's basically like calling the shots when it comes to like uh, filming, creating contents and everything, and also like taming their masters in front of the camera, what to say and everything. So you've got a lot of reasons, both I would say positive, negative, or yeah, but you still have quite a lot of yeah, and
yeah,
yeah, and another thing is, especially when it comes to trolling and when it comes to bashing somebody else's post. Yeah. So you have that quite a lot in just like in any martial arts though. But yeah, you get
yeah,
a lot of that as well in Filipino martial arts.
yeah. It's a lot of fear, isn't it? It's a
Mm.
fear of trolls, fear of
Yeah,
technology, fear
exactly.
of
Yeah. Mm.
fear of people stealing your secret techniques, fear of
Actually, as if there's a secret technique. Yeah. Secret technique.
It's
Yeah.
so true. Yeah, yeah. I get that.
Mm.
I'm more of the opinion that if you have a gift, you have a responsibility to share it with as many people as
That's
possible
true.
to improve their lives.
That's
So
true.
that's
That's true.
rather than like keep it to myself
Mm.
and my little group and
Mm.
holding on to
Mm.
it. I'd
Mm.
rather share it with many people as possible, improve their lives, help more people, and the
Yeah.
internet gives you the ability
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, let's face it. We won't be able to teach things completely on the internet. There are certain things that you need to be able to teach like face to face. But
Absolutely,
I
yeah.
think there's going to be quite a maybe a huge or a substantial amount of instructions that you'll be able to share in the internet or online as well.
Yeah,
So,
like I mentioned, like the best way to learn is one on one with an instructor.
mm, mm,
But sometimes that's very difficult. It's not feasible,
yeah,
and sometimes you can do a bit of the training online
mm,
initially, and then
mm,
meet the instructor who can tweak it, improve it, refine
mm,
it, correct your mistakes, and get you
mm,
better. So
mm.
I think it's a resource that's important. I think it's going to be more
Yeah,
and more popular. And what I
mm,
find most common with instructors, especially ones from traditional martial arts like Filipino martial arts, and is someone will create an online course and they will go, "What absolute shit! I should have done that years
it's,
ago. Mine would be better than theirs. Why
it's
didn't I do it?"
always,
So it's like just do it yourself then. Just
yeah,
create
exactly.
content, put it out there, and be the
Mm,
first.
yeah,
To kind of get known in that area in that
mm,
niche.
yeah,
But I understand all of these fears. First time I stood in front of the camera, I was like, couldn't speak properly, started sweating, made so many mistakes because it is hard speaking to a camera because it's really foreign. There's no people around. It's you and a demo and a camera,
yeah,
and it feels
yeah,
really weird. And you're like, oh, do I look at the
yeah.
camera? Do I not look at the camera? They're like, so I get that, but guess what? You do 20 or 30 videos, you're used to it.
Mm. You get used to it. Yeah.
Same
Mm,
with like website stuff. You first time you build a website, it is an absolute nightmare and it looks awful. And
mm.
then you build 20 and you're good at
You
it.
get used to it. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
First time you create a YouTube video, it gets 0 likes, no one responds. You create 100, suddenly you've got a little bit of an audience around you.
yeah.
It's just being uncomfortable, being comfortable with being uncomfortable, which I think
Mm.
martial arts should teach you. Isn't that one of the things about
Yeah,
martial arts?
martial arts. Yeah.
We should just be comfortable putting ourselves in
Mm.
uncomfortable
Position. Yeah,
positions and
that's true.
learning how to thrive
Yeah, that's true.
in those positions.
Mm.
So, martial artists will spend decades perfecting their technique and get their hands smashed and get their teeth knocked out and get injured and get broken. But they won't just learn how to do a little bit of marketing, put up a website
Mm.
and create an
Mm.
online course, which is really nowadays not that difficult to do.
Yeah.
And I get it, it's not your strength, but it wasn't my strength either. It wasn't what I was good at. I was crap at tech. I was crap at filming myself. I was bad at marketing, but I just
Learned along
persevered.
the way.
And the better you get at something, the more you fall in love with it.
Yeah,
Have you
that's true.
noticed that?
That's true.
When you initially start something and you're awful at it and
Mm.
you're embarrassed and people are judging you on your awfulness of something, you don't seem to like it that much. As soon as you get really, really good at it, suddenly you love it.
Mm.
Isn't that strange?
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
So
exactly. In
it's the
everything.
same
It's
in everything, right?
mm.
I remember like learning how to do a spinning kick and falling over like 5 or 6 times in class, and people laughing and pointing, and the shame and the ooh.
Embarrassment.
But then
Yeah.
I went home and I practiced and I practiced and I trained with my friend and we practiced and we practiced, and 6 months later I was hitting people with a spinning kick in sparring and feeling great about it. You've got to overcome that discomfort. You've got to
Yeah, that's
overcome that fear. You've got to
mm.
overcome the public shaming, the trolling. You just got to rise above it,
Mm.
be persistent, and then
Mm.
good things will happen.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Wow. Wow. Golden lessons from Meet Master Matt Chapman tonight,
I
guys.
wouldn't say golden, just, just common sense. really.
Well, the thing is, sometimes common sense does it's
It
no,
isn't
no,
that common, is
not
it?
not that
No.
common anymore now. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, but yeah, I would say because you have been actually doing online stuff, I mean, as compared to some of us, you know more about this now, and like the differences in with social media, how you use them, the algorithms. I mean, of course, we won't be able to learn that. Not yeah, unlike basically from somebody like you who have been doing it for a while now, and you've been helping like other instructors as well
Hmm.
to get good at it. So yeah, I mean that for me is golden.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I would say is I'm very worried about a lot of older martial arts instructors. I train with a lot of older martial arts instructors. Martial arts instructors are so focused on helping their students that they help their students at the expense of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of older instructors I know don't have savings, they don't have
That's true.
pension,
That's true.
they don't have
That's
ISA, they don't own their own home. They
mm,
so they and they're reaching retirement age if they're going to retire. We know martial artists are not going to retire, but you might want to retire from teaching a little bit and
mm.
spend more time
Actually, that's a
teaching.
good point. Yeah.
But they don't have any of this because we've spent so long just taking care of our students, that we haven't taken care of ourselves. So one thing with the online side of things is if you can put the work in and make it work and get it effective and working for you, you put the 2 or 3 years slog in and make it work. It can be semi-passive,
Mm-hmm.
meaning you put the it's not semi-passive. It's you put in a lot of effort at the start to get the boulder moving. Once it's tipped over and it starts rolling, you can make money when you're not promoting. So you'll make money when you're sleeping, when you're eating, when you're traveling, when you're not
Mm.
teaching, when you're on holiday, when you're sat on the toilet, you can still make money, which is pretty insane because most instructors have to
Yeah,
teach
to just to be able to earn
all
money.
the time
Yeah,
in order
that's
to
true.
make money, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like a hamster wheel of teaching too much and doing too many privates and not taking care of your body, and it starts to break you down, and people quit, people leave, people steal your students, all this sort of fun stuff that goes on in martial arts that gets you a bit further down and broken down. The advantage of creating an online ecosystem or online products is if you create them right, you can sell them today
Mm-hmm.
and you can sell them in 10 years time.
Yeah, that's true.
And the work has been done. So I'm still selling courses that I made 10 years ago today. So think about that. I
Wow.
did something 10 years ago, I put it on the internet, and then someone now is buying that course for £50, for example. But that'll also happen in another 10 years' time. So it'll still be selling in 20 years' time. It'll still be
Yeah,
selling
that's
in
true.
30 years' time.
Mm.
That once I understood that, I was like, oh wow, okay, that's amazing. I need to create this kind of business where it's not physically reliant on me teaching every single day in order
Mm.
to support my family. And that's what an online business allows you to do, because it's not geographically limited, and it's set up in a way that you don't physically have to do it every single day, because I can film once and sell it many millions of times and it won't degrade. Whereas if I'm
Mm-hmm.
teaching a class, I have to teach that class, go home, come back tomorrow and teach
Yeah.
another class, go home.
Mm.
But during each class, I'm getting damaged and I'm getting broken and I'm getting more tired and I'm getting more pissed off and more stressed
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
more burnt out. Do you see what I mean? So at the end, you're kind of,
Yeah, yeah.
there's not much left. And I see that with a lot of older martial arts instructors. They've given so much of themselves and they've gotten so little back in terms of, you know, how they can live their
Yeah.
life and do what they love. You should be rewarded for the difference
Exactly.
you're making in people's lives, and that doesn't happen. So
Mm. Mm.
online courses is one way that you can share your passion that you have for martial arts with more people, but also kind of protect yourself. If you start now, in 3 to 5 years' time, you'll have an online business that will bring you in £500 a month extra, £1,000 a month
Mm.
extra. I have clients who bring in between 1 and £4,000 a month extra on what they're earning. Now, if you're smart, you put that in a pension, or you put
Mm.
that into property, or you invest it in your
Yeah,
business,
invest it.
or
Yeah. Mm.
yeah, so that it grows over time, so that in 20 years' time, when you want to retire, you have a nest egg, you have something that you can use. So that's what I try and help instructors do, try and change their mindset and think
Ah,
longer term, and also think about, creating assets. An online
yeah.
business is an asset because it's something that creates money residually for you every single month,
Yeah.
whether you work or not. If I just
Yeah.
sat and put my feet up on the sofa now for 3 months, I'd still be making money. So
Okay.
that's pretty. I mean, if that doesn't make you think about the potential of it,
Yeah. True.
you
True.
literally
Okay. So
go on a holiday and do that. So crazy.
yeah. So if people would like basically to, how would they get in contact with you with regards to if they want to get more coaching with your online
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah. So you can go to my website. It's called teachyourpassiononline.co.uk. All one word, teachyourpassiononline.co.uk. You'll find me there. You can hit me up on Facebook, Matthew Chapman. You can go to MitMaster and message me off mitmaster.com. Any way you like. But yeah, I just try and help instructors do this because the the upside is so massive. You just need to be consistent and kind of get over the whole mental barriers that are holding you back. So if people want to reach out, I can help them out.
Wow. Okay. There you go, chaps. The man to contact. Okay.
Well, yeah, if you want to talk about pads or online courses, I'm the man that's
Yes,
constantly.
exactly, exactly, exactly. Oh, there you go. Anton actually put the
Oh,
website.
thank you,
Yeah.
thank you very much, Anton.
So, I mean, in behalf of the moderators of FMA discussion and the members of the FMA discussion community, I would like to thank you, okay, for being our guest and sharing very important information when it comes to online courses and everything.
Well, thank you for inviting me. It's nice chatting with you. You've got a nice, relaxing style of talking. I like it. It's kind of my vibe. I like it.
Oh,
I
thank
like
you.
the relaxed nature of the chat. But it's nice just to get on and try and share my message with as many martial artists as possible because I just love martial artists. I think we're awesome. I think we make a massive difference and we help
Yeah.
people. We should be rewarded for our service. So
Yeah, that's very true. I do agree. Yeah, I mean, I'll be reaching out to you with regards to
thank
like
you, man.
getting myself as well started. All
Appreciate
right.
it.
Thank you
Thank you.
very much. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Oh, yeah.
Cheers,
What
guys. Have a
is
good
left?
one.
What is left? All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. That's not too bad.
Thank you. Thank you, Matt. Thank you.
See you later. Thank
See you
you.
later. Bye. Okay, so guys, thank you very much. So that was episode 314 with Matthew Chapman. Okay, so meet masters and teach your passion online. So if you basically want to get started leaving a legacy, okay, or earning more, or adding income to what you already have, uh, hook up with him. So, so thank you very much. And in about 20 minutes time, I'll be back with Guru Hail Campbell. And before I close this one, remember this. I think is this Sunday, Dean. We're going to have the raffle for Jesse Santiago's charity raffle, for him to be able to help get his equipment uh, replaced from that dreadful robbery that happened. Okay, so thank you very much. See you in 20 minutes time.